had the engine, as you saw there, running in the tank to warm the oil up. Got the oil level indication here, so it's at idle there, it's half a tank. Well, it's half on the sight glass there, which is you can see here. So got high and low, and the drain for it is beneath, just up in here. I don't know if you can see that. Use a screwdriver for that, Phillips or a posi or a flat, whatever you can get in there. It doesn't hold much. We'll put the tank down there, the drain in. We'll drain the oil out, and then we'll fill it. We've got a nice sight glass there, and we'll fill it to the top so we know it's full. So go in with the screwdriver there. You just crack it off. Got the drip tray there. Hopefully we catch it all in the tray. Do this one-handed. There comes the oil. Let's say the oil is nice and warm. We've been running the engine, and we'll let all that drain out into there. I've got a new O-ring, and we'll put the new oil in. So on the sump plug, that's it there. Got a little O-ring. Got a new one here, new genuine one in the bag. So we'll replace that, and then the oil's just finished draining away there. So we'll put the new seal on, put the plug in, and then we can start refilling. Right, so for refilling the oil, it's quite straightforward. I've just taken the plug out there for filling. That's where it goes there, just above the sight window. I've got my oil down here. I've just filled about a litre in the jug, and we're going to pour it in really slowly, keeping an eye on this window here, because as the level comes up, we know where our oil level is, because we haven't got a dipstick. We just got this window, and it tells us here where the high and low is. So once I'm done, I'll put on the screen how much oil we used, because I'm just going to fill it till it's on level. There's no filter or anything for this engine, so you fill it to the level, and when you're running the level will drop, because obviously it's circulating around the engine. But when you come back to an idle, or sorry, a stop, the level will reset, and that's when you check. You don't check it when it's running, because you'll get a false indication. You could overfill the engine, or get a worry that you were too low on oil. So that's your oil done there. You can just see the top of the indicator there, which is indicating full. We'll put the cap back in, and that's it for an oil change. Very straightforward in this engine, like everything. You could probably do this all just with a 10mm socket, to be fair, and a screwdriver. Yeah, very straightforward. Obviously, a spark plug's different size as well, but very limited tools are required to service this engine. So another little job on this engine, we've got very simple 8mm socket for this anode here. You just stick it on there. To be fair, it doesn't really need changing. This anode's fine. But I've got another one coming in the kit, so we'll swap it out anyway. Very straightforward. 8mm, take it out, put it back in. Simple as that. So the last simple job on this Suzuki is the gearbox oil. So we've got the lower, upper plugs. We always make sure we can take the upper one out first. Get rid of that seal, and then we'll empty the bottom one by taking that plug out, and then we'll refill it from the bottom to the top, purges all the air out. Very small gearbox, so hardly any oil. And I've got new seals as well, so it's as simple as that. I'm not going to show you how to do it. I've got the bottle there with the thread connection, so you just fill it from the top, from the bottom to the top, put the top plug in. You can take your filler out, creates a partial vacuum, and then you put the bottom one in, and that's the gear oil. So on this Suzuki, we're going to do the impeller now, and that requires removing the lower unit, which is this bolt here and this bolt here. Once they're off, we should be able to slide the whole unit out. There's nothing to disconnect up here, because it's just a neutral and forward, and it pushes it into gear, then a spring return. So all we have to do is the two bolts, and that lower unit will come off, and we can access the water pump. Because this engine, I've had a little test run, we're getting nothing out of there. So either the impeller's gone, or we've got a problem further up in the head. But I'm hoping it's the impeller. So we'll drop the lower unit now, and we'll have a look what's going on. So 10mm socket on this one and this one, and then we'll drop the unit. We'll put it in the bench there. So once I've taken them out, we'll give it a tap here on this plate and it should all slide out, and then we'll get it and have a look. So as you can see, I've just given it a pull there, and there's the shift rod on the bottom. This is the power shaft. Just lay it down there and I'll get it secure. Inside we've got the water pickup tube. Like I say, there's the shift shaft, just 2 bolts. Okay, so we got it in the bench there, and we've got 4 M10 bolts that we need to remove. Once they're out, we can slide this upper cover up and off the drive shaft. So we'll start by slacking them all off. Now they're slack, we'll be able to take them out one by one. That one still needs a little bit more. Just get it there. And now we can take that upper housing off and have a look at the water pump. I'm suspecting, or I'm hoping, that it's worn because we're not getting much water out. If not, we'll have to look elsewhere. So just lifted off the cover there, and we've got an O-ring, the wear plate. There's the plastic cover there, and here's the impeller. Some of the older ones are 4 blade. I think the new one I've got a 5 or a 6. Just having a look at the blades there. It's not looking too bad. But the wood rough key in there. No signs of it overheating or anything. So we'll get all these bits cleaned. There's the inside. That's that wear cup inside. And we'll replace all the changeable bits. So the first bit on is this gasket. Then got the wear plate, which is going to go on as well. And then we've got the new impeller, which is a newer design. The woodruff key and that O-ring there. So the wear cup's staying, so we'll clean that up and then we can get it all back together. So we've got the new O-ring, and that just sits in that groove there, just pressed in, and that's that bit in. Now we can put the woodruff key that can go in. There's a little cutout in the shaft that goes in there, and then this impeller slides down over the top and is locked on, and then we push the housing over the top, and then the 4 bolts back in, and that's it. So as you can see on the impeller, it's got 2 little notches. The other side's hasn't got it, and those 2 notches sit on that key there. So just have a look at where they are. They're in between the blades, and we come down, and that's it there. See how it's flush to the deck now. When we move that, we move the shaft. Like I say, now we can push this cover over the top. And it does have 2 locating dowels which go there and there, which are plastic on the housing. So I'll slide it on, and then I'll cut back to it on. So you can see it's just about to get pushed down and over. And see if we can locate it in those dowels. There we go, that's it in. It's a new impeller, so it doesn't really matter which way it goes. I found it doesn't matter at all. And now we can get the 4 bolts in and then get it back on the engine the same way we took it off. So you can see housing's back on. Got the water pump here. So there's a bit of a split. I'm not sure that's supposed to be there, but the pickup tube goes inside there. That's the output, and suctions down here. There we go. That's the lower unit impeller done. Very easy, very simple. We'll just check it's still in neutral there. When we click it into gear, it's locked. Back into neutral. There we go. So we know everything's aligned. We ensured that the water pickup tube went in, got the new impeller in there, all the gaskets, drive shafts aligned. So we'll give it a run now and see if we improve on the water. So you say we're not getting much water coming out, nothing out of this exhaust telltale here or anywhere else. So I was hoping it's that impeller. If not, we'll have a look at the thermostat and everything. Okay, in this Suzuki we're going to do the spark plug now. Spark plug fitted is a NGK RCR6HSA spark plug. They don't have the terminal boot on, it's just a screw. It's gapped to 0.7mm on this one. So to do this, we'll take the back catch and the front catch off, just a rubber, and we can lift this off. So as you move the recoil start a little bit. Okay, with the lid off, we can see the spark plug boot. We just pull that off and we can see the spark plug protruding there. So we'll get our socket on there, remove that, and we've got a new one to fit. So it's as easy as that on the Suzuki DF2.5. There's only one single cylinder, swap them out, and that's it. Take the lid off here, I'll just show you what we're going to be looking at. So it's M10 bolts. We're going to have this one removed, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, so we can take the recoil off. Thermostat housing, thermostat's there, and we've got an anode in there. So with that off, we can easy access to that. So that's the recoil starter off, and we've also removed the thermostat lid, which is here. Left the gasket behind. This side here, you can see where the anode is. The thermostat's here. I've just taken the thermostat out. I'm just going to test it now. As you can see from the running there is water in there. So I don't know whether the thermostat's not functioning properly or what, but as you saw when we were running it, we weren't getting any water out of the telltale or anything like that. So I suspect it's either the impeller or the thermostat that's gone. I don't think this engine's been run for about 3 years. We did struggle to get it started. I had to put some carb cleaner in there, hold my finger over at full throttle and put a bit of a quite a pressure on the intake system to pull some of the fuel through, but we got there eventually, got it idling, so we didn't have to disassemble the carb. But at the moment we're just struggling with the water flow, so we're going to test the thermostat before we remove the impeller, which we're going to change anyway, but I would have thought the impeller still had some life left in it, but evidently either that or the thermostat doesn't. So we'll test and we'll see where we stand. Like I just mentioned, the anode sits just in there. I've just taken it out there with a Phillips screwdriver. The anode's in good condition, not much wastage there, so we'll put that back in and then we'll get it all closed back up again. Just tested that thermostat there with some hot water, and as you can see that the piston has opened. So it's not the thermostat, it must be the impeller or a blockage in the coolant system. But looking at the condition of the thermostat housing, I wouldn't have thought there's an internal blockage. Most likely the impeller is worn out. So we'll put all this back together and then we'll move on to checking the rest of the system.